11th June is celebrated as Saint Barnabas Day to commemorate his life. Meaning of the name is Son of Comfort. Rename Joseph. Hometown, the island of Cyprus in the eastern Mediterranean. Acts of the Apostles, chapter 4, verse 36. After the Persian rule, the Greek rule entered Palestine. After the death of Alexander the Great between 175 to 135 BC, that is before Christ, Alexander the Great had no direct successor and his generals divided his empire. Palestine was annexed to Syria and came under the rule of Seleucid dynasty. Antiochus Epiphanes, one of those who sat on his throne, tried in many ways to infuse Greek religious sentiment into the lives of the Israelites. Because of this, the Maccabees fought a religious war and hence the people lived freely under the rule of the Maccabees. During this period, some Jews migrated to the island of Cyprus, and history says that Barnabas was the one whose forefathers came to Cyprus. Although Barnabas was a Levite, and Levites didn't own lands in Palestine according to the law of Moses, he sold his land on the island of Cyprus and brought the proceeds to the apostles. Acts of the Apostles 4:37. Because the Lord chose Paul, that is Saul, as a servant to proclaim his name to the Gentiles, kings and children of Israel, Barnabas, knowing that the others did not believe him to be a disciple, when he came to Jerusalem and tried to join the disciples, took him along. This Barnabas took him with him to the place of the apostles and told them how he had seen the Lord on the way and how he had spoken with him and how he had boldly prayed in the name of Jesus in Damascus. Acts chapter 9, verse 15, verse 26 and verse 27. This Barnabas was chosen by James, Simon Peter and John, the pillars of the church, who gave their right hand as a symbol of the unity of the Gentiles, to preach to the Gentiles with Paul. Galatians chapter 2 verse 9 and Acts chapter 11 verse 18. Barnabas performed the ministry with Saul. Acts 12:25. On Paul's first journey, he started with him in Antioch and ministered in places like Seleucia, Salamis, Paphos, Perga, Pisidia, Antiochia in Pisidia, Iconium, Lystra and Derbe. Acts chapter 13 verse 1 to chapter 14 verse 28. Barnabas and Paul told everyone gathered in Jerusalem about all the signs and wonders God had done among the Gentiles with them. Acts 15:12. Since John Mark left them in Pamphylia, Paul chose Silas on his second journey. So Barnabas took John Mark and went to the island of Cyprus. Acts chapter 15 verse 36 to verse 41, and continued his ministry. We understand from the scriptures that Mary, the mother of John Mark, who was the author of St. Mark's Gospel in the New Testament, was the sister of Joseph, renamed Barnabas, a wealthy Levite from the island of Cyprus. Acts 4:36-37 and Colossians chapter 4 verse 10. The history is that Barnabas finally died in the island of Cyprus as a martyr at Salamis, and John Mark buried Barnabas, and it is believed that Barnabas' brother was among the 70 disciples the Lord chose apart from the 12 disciples and sent them 2 by 2 to go ahead of him to every town and place where he himself was about to go. While sending them, Jesus said to them, "There is a large harvest, but for workers to gather it in, pray to the owner of the harvest that he will send out workers to gather in the harvest." Luke chapter 2 verses 1 to 12 and chapter 10 verse 1. Let us live like Barnabas as ministers, peacemakers and comforters.